everybody, and welcome to the Horror Show. The show dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other cult classics. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
Hello, Joe.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. Hey, have you seen that commercial? It's like running on like NBA games all the time it's like an elderly man that runs like a small hardware store and starts accepting Bitcoin or like crypto as payment.
I'm not.
It's fucking nuts. Dude, I gotta find it and send it to you. It's fucking crazy. I saw it before I came in here, and it's a commercial for small businesses accepting crypto. And it's this old guy, and he's like, I was afraid to use crypto, but now I accept it for payment for $3 screws. He's like, I make more money than I've ever made in my life.
Jesus.
So I think they're scratching the bottom of the barrel in the crypto world. I think they're hurting.
Isn't it doing really well right now?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know shit about crypto, to be honest.
I don't know either. All I
saw
know
people complaining about Hawk Tuah girls crypto bankrupting them.
Oh yeah. The old pump and dump scheme, which she claims didn't happen, but it for sure did. But hey, listen. It is what it is. It's unregulated. There you go. That's what happens. So we should be doing that, right? With us, we just end up losing our houses. But well, this whole, they call it sniping. It's like you buy as much as you can of a new dude. Producer Lexi said Gork coin. Fucking done. But sniping is like you find a new coin. It was like Hawk Tuah's coin, and like they buy a shitload of it, and then everyone is like, oh, it's going up, and then other people buy it, and then they just sell all their shit and then it goes down and then plummets.
None of this makes any sense to me.
Hey, me either. I'm just reading or saying what I read out loud. I'm probably read incorrectly. So anyway, hey, we have a movie today.
We do.
And it is called, and I keep getting the name wrong.
To All A Goodnight.
To All A Goodnight from 1980. Have you seen this before?
I have not seen it. I don't even think I had heard anybody ever talk about it before watching this. I just want to highlight that it not only did it come out in 1980, but it came out January 30th, 1980, which is important to note because a movie called Friday the 13th came out May 9th, 1980. So 5 months after this.
Ooh. There's a lot of things in this that are a little, people, I don't know, maybe it's a little more influential than we think.
So like I want to make that claim, but there's no way the guys from Friday the 13th saw this movie and then develop the script in time for it to be released in May, and like you shoot it. You know what I mean?
It's true.
The similarities are crazy though.
Yeah.
Which seems to happen a lot. People are probably talking about these ideas in like little circles, and just first.
Yeah,
it's
for
wild.
sure.
Wild how similar it is and how it did it first.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting. I have some notes from an interview with David Hess, the director, that I'll talk about at the end of the episode, I think. But it's he's a funny guy. But what the cover of this is one of the all-time shittiest covers. I see a lot of people say they love the cover. But
no, are you serious?
Yeah,
dude. Like I felt a need to write down the first thing like, on my paper right here to talk about how shitty this cover is.
Oh, that's my first note too. This cover sucks.
It would completely, like, more so than any movie we've ever talked about, it called my eye in the most negative way. Like I would never go out of my way to watch this if I saw that on a VHS cover in a video store.
So I think in all of the years we've done the show, I think I've definitely seen the cover, and it has completely turned me off from doing it. Every time I see it, I'm like, well, I'm not going to watch that. That's not going to be good. And it's not, but
You didn't like the movie?
No, I love it, but it's
Okay.
not a good movie. It's
I would agree with that. I think it's like very fun to watch. I had a
It's
very
awesome.
fun time doing this. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, me too. I would. This might be a horror show Hall of Famer.
I would agree with that.
This is unreal. Some of the stuff that happens in this movie is unreal. The characters are amazing.
The characters are nuts. The kills. I mean, David Hess is involved in movies, right? But it's as if he's never seen a movie before, or like whoever edited some of those kills like, had no clue what they were doing. And the score, it's like Looney Tune, you know, whatever instrument makes it, and it would happen at certain points where it was just like that high pitched whistle when like an anvil falls or whatever, and I was like, that's weird that they're doing that and that they keep doing that, and at the end they make like an entire song out of it, like an arrangement.
It's nuts. It would be weird because sometimes the score would be all right and it would be like very eerie, and then it would end with like that, like, I don't even know how to explain what the sound is. It's like the like a bell and a whistle. It sounds like one of those guys playing like the instrument that's 18 instruments, you know,
with the horns. Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. It's fucking wild. And David Hess, who has acted in a lot of things, had said in this interview that I read, he said that he saw himself more as a director than an actor. And I was like, oh, maybe he's directed more things than I know about. He hasn't. He did like, I want to say like 3 or 4 other movies, and they don't have Wikipedia pages, so I don't know if they're even real, but we'll see that. Also, David Hess's Wikipedia page, imagine you have a Wikipedia page and that first paragraph that you can just see from the Google results says he came to prominence for his portrayal of murderous rapists, villains, and gruff characters. Hey, somebody edit that for me.
Just to be fair, dude, his face, and I'm like, I don't mean this like insultingly. He just has a face where he would never be able to play anything else.
No,
and I don't know if it's because we've seen him as Krug in Last House on the Left, and that's just like ingrained in our mind. But like, you look at him like, yeah, that guy has to play a terrible piece of shit.
100%. The Italians had it right with him. They were like, hey, do we have a role for you? And Last House on the Left,
that he recorded All Shook Up before Elvis did?
I did see that. And
he wrote for Elvis after.
Yeah. That is, I mean, the guy has lived a life. He lived a life. He has since passed away, unfortunately. But leaving a concert.
Yeah. Yep.
What a way to go. Hopefully it was a good one. But I think it was like a local. I think it was like a on the green.
I mean, that's.
I was just telling
other towns do that, like other states.
I don't know. I feel like they do. I feel like they must, but I don't know because in our hometown, the show. Okay, so like we saw Blues Traveler on the Green in New Haven, which is
right. That was
a large town, so they can pull like some decent acts there. You know what I mean? Like older acts, but still fun. In our hometown, they would do it, and it was like bands you'd see in bars.
That's even being generous. They would have like, I remember one time that with football crew, there was one kid in particular that was so pumped because he got a phone call letting him know that there was a guy doing Jackson Brown covers that night. He's like, we have to end the game early. We have to get to the green right now.
That's fucking insane.
It was always just one guy with an acoustic guitar doing terrible covers of people that like you wouldn't want to go, like, who wants to go see Jackson Brown covers in 2015?
That's fucking nuts. Oh man. So yeah, David Hess did Last House on the Left. That was in 1972, and then 8 years later, he's directing this movie. He also claims he's a method actor, and he famously threatened to attack co-star Sandra Peabody to get a more genuine reaction from her on the set of Last House on the Left.
Just being a piece of shit and then be like, hey, I'm method acting here. When somebody's like, hey, why are you being such an asshole? Just gonna start
That's the
saying
move.
that every time I do.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna tell everyone at work when they're like, "Hey, that was like really mean." I'll just be like, "Hey, yeah, I was." Don't worry, I'm a method actor. Don't worry about it. You know what? I was thinking about method acting the other day. Daniel Day-Lewis, right? Obviously, probably the most famous method actor, I guess. So remember when he did Lincoln and he like lived out in the woods in Illinois? So when you're on set and you have to like use the bathroom, you call it 10-1 or a 10-2. 10-2 being a shit and 10-1 being a piss. But you're Abe Lincoln. Like he won't break character. So what does he do? Is he like, excuse me, gentlemen, I have to take a
Writes scribes a letter.
I got this letter from a fellow named Daniel Day-Lewis.
Dude, he became a cobbler for that movie. Was it my left foot?
That's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I get method acting to like some extent, where like you walk with a limp, around the house if you're playing a character that walks with a limp. Like,
Sure,
that's fine. But like Robert De Niro, I think it was Taxi Driver. No, sorry, Cape Fear, the Cape Fear remake. He paid to have like all his teeth fucked up, like distorted. But he paid a dentist to move his teeth so they would look shitty. Like, I'm pretty sure you could just wear prosthetics.
Yeah, like what are we doing?
That's not method act.
No, and the same thing with the what's his name, the fucking Jared Leto when he was the Joker and he was like sending condoms full of like cum to people, and they were like, "Hey, I don't think you have to do that." Also, where are you getting that from the Joker?
2 minutes of screen time.
Could you find me the Batman comic where he's mailing people condoms full of fucking cum and dead pigeons? Like what issue was that, my friend? Like what are you fucking doing? It's fucking ridiculous. I will say the documentary about Jim Carrey doing method acting for Andy Kaufman was great though.
That kind of method acting I'm fine with. He's getting into the role of the person he's playing.
Yeah. What was the name of it? Man on the Moon? But what was the name of the fucking doc on it? It was called like I forget. It was like Jim and Andy or something. Oh my god! It was Jim and Andy. That was the fucking best, dude. Just giving Milos Forman so much grief. My favorite parts of that movie were whenever it cut to Milos, and he was just like, "Please, just talk to me like you're Jim Carrey," and he'd be like, "I don't know who Jim Carrey is."
Dude, and then doing Tony Clifton and then going to the Playboy Mansion as Jim Carrey when it wrapped, and then having somebody else show up as Tony Clifton and just annoying everyone. It's fucking genius.
He had the real Bob Zamuda do it.
Fucking amazing.
It's fucking awesome. Oh fuck. Anyway, we have a better movie than that, so don't worry. We got all the method acting you can handle in this one. It was also written by one of the stars of The Incredible Melting Man.
No, the star. The
incredible
shrinking man himself. He also wrote Home Sweet Home, the Thanksgiving movie with Lou Ferrigno.
Oh, that's a good one. That's the Lou Ferrigno. You know what? Before producer Lexi might be dropping off here. So why don't we do the Rotten Tomatoes and then we can go into the cast here. Guess the lines. I think Joe, you took it last time. I think we tied one and you won the other one. There's no critic score. How's that? Okay, well,
I mean,
that should tell you everything you need to know. If it's fan, fuck again. Like I don't see anyone even talk about this movie ever. I'm gonna go 30%.
I was gonna go low too. I'll say 40. Oh, Jesus.
Whoa, wow. 21%. Holy cow. Yikes. I actually thought we'd both be low. But that was I don't think it's I don't know. How is it 21%? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's not a good movie.
So no, but the people watching it probably also aren't like, it's not like a movie that a lot of people would find that don't watch horror movies and would be like, this movie fucking sucks. It's you have to be seeking this thing out.
Well, I was surprised because I went onto Letterboxd before hopping on here and saw some people that I follow that have the same taste in horror and just watch shitty horror movies all day long. Give this like 1 or 1.5 stars, man. What a piece of shit. Which I was surprised by because
I'm surprised by it too. I mean, it is, but it's so fun. Like, dude, the bad parts you laugh at. Like, it's not like it doesn't take it away from the movie, in my opinion. I'm just like, holy shit, I can't believe they
killing this. That I laughed for like 15 minutes afterwards. Like, what's even serious? Actually, there's two. Dude, there's two that I rewound. Straight up rewound. No way.
Oh man, yeah. I know the cast is very limited in this. Do you have anyone of note in here?
There's only 2 people of note. Jennifer Runyon, who plays Nancy. You know her best as the psychic student, well, psychic in quotes, from Ghostbusters that Bill Murray was making guess the cards. She had a reoccurring role in Charles in Charge's first season, and she played Cindy Brady in A Very Brady Christmas.
Okay, well, hey,
she has some work.
Good for her. I love that scene, and it's like one of the best scenes in the first Ghostbusters, in my opinion, when Bill Murray's giving her
the other guy, because the guy next to her is getting them actually correct.
Yeah,
snapping them
and shocking them. It is a circle. Wow, incredible.
That's great.
And then that guy leaves. That guy like storms out, and he's like, "This is what's going to happen. People are going to be jealous of your gifts." Bill Murray rules. Who else? Anyone else in that?
And then Harry Reams, who is the pilot.
Okay.
He is a porn star who was in Deep Throat as the doctor who diagnoses Linda Lovelace as having her clitoris in the back of her throat. He's also in The Devil and Miss Jones, Enforced Entry, 3 of like the most well-known, mainstream pornography movies ever. And he's one of the first people to ever be arrested for starring in a movie, because he was arrested for starring in Deep Throat with intent to like sell obscene material across state lines.
Oh shit!
That's his trial. Like a lot of people showed, like Jack Nicholson, Dustin Hoffman, like a lot of like Hollywood actors showed up in his defense to be like, "Why is this guy arrested for this?"
That's crazy. That's nuts. Yeah. I would have loved to pick that guy's brain. He's in the movie for
his demise is one of the ones that I could not stop laughing at.
Yeah. Oh man, and it's got an 87
mugshot. If you go to his Wikipedia page, you can see his mugshot. It's fantastic. He has the biggest mustache I've ever seen.
Of course, fucking cookie duster, baby. All right, so let's get into this. Let's just get into it. So the first thing that caught my eye is the first thing you see, and it immediately I was like, "What am I watching?" And on the screen, it says Calvin finishing school for girls. That's fine. And then it said Christmas Vacation 2 years ago. And I was like, do you normally see that? Why? It just felt odd to me. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen it say like X number of years ago. Because you're just like, I don't know, like you just show it, right? And I was like, that's weird. Like, let's see how this goes. And then, of course, we watched this sorority running around chasing another girl. They're also chanting sorority for some reason. I will say the worst part of this is the writing. The writing is fucking nuts. And some of it is fine. Most of it you're going to not notice. But towards the end, the way these people talk is as if, like you said with David Hess, it's like they've never seen human beings before. This looks like a movie an alien would make, or AI. If you made AI, if you're like, AI, write me a slasher, this is like sort of how it would pop out, and you'd be like, you'd watch it, and you'd be like, I guess this is fine, but that was like really fucking weird. That was a weird ass glitch. Like, what was that? Why are they saying that? Why at the end is everyone asking whether they're in danger or not? When they've been told very clearly they are in danger.
They're told to shelter in place, which they all comment on. Like, man, this is boring.
Over and over.
Also, by the way, least boring shelter in place you could ever have. Those kids are having the time of their life.
And they all hate it for some reason. So we watch this sorority chasing this girl. The girl falls off the balcony with a great, of course, a great doll scene, a doll falling off the balcony.
The worst like body double you've ever seen, ever.
like truly a paper mache person that they threw up filled with newspaper. They couldn't even get the doll body.
Like, we've seen movies and we've talked about movies where it's very obvious. That buddy cop movie that we did, there's one scene where a body gets like sandwiched between a car, and it's very obvious that they put a dummy in. But this is so unbelievably obvious that they just threw a, like, even saying it's paper mache is generous, because the thing's like falling apart in the air as it's traveling.
That's what I was gonna say. The limbs are going like up. Because there's just zero weight to it, so all of its limbs are essentially bending backwards. Oh man, it's fucking incredible. So this girl falls off the balcony and dies. You go right to the credits, and then it says on the screen, Christmas Day, present day. And I was like, I'm not crazy, because normally what you would do is just show the school for girls, show that scene, and then you would say 2 years later.
Yeah, it's kind of redundant to put.
Yeah, redundant, right? Like, it's like two years ago. Like, okay, it's so weird. So I felt a little bit better when I saw it.
That whole opening scene of that person being chased and then dying accidentally, that's very similar to what happens in Prom Night, which came out July 18th of 1980. So, something the scriptwriters were talking, I guess, before these movies were being made.
For sure. And I mean, I wonder if they even had I wonder if they would even register scripts at this point. I mean, no, they didn't. I don't know why I'm saying that out loud. Of course, they didn't register their scripts, even if there was a Screen Actors Guild at the time. But
they probably just talked about it at a movie, and then they were like, "Hey, I heard Krug is taking our ideas and making a movie," and they're all just like, "It's fine. Don't worry about it."
Krug. Hey, I think Krug's taking our ideas. And then be like, yeah, okay,
just let him.
And doing what with them?
He's got the guy from Deep Throat.
Yeah, it's a bit part, though. Wait, what? Oh, man. I can't wait to tell you which one of his relatives is in this movie. Or did you find that out?
Which one of whose relatives?
David Hess's relatives.
No, I didn't.
I will let you think about it throughout the episode about which one of these characters could be related to David Hess, and then I will reveal it.
Is it the police officer?
It's not. The good guess, but no. So we go right to the credits. We have no idea what just happened. They just chased this girl. She fell off a balcony. She's dead. That's kind of all we've got right now. I wrote down these two characters' names because they said them so prominently. I was like, they must be characters. They're not. They're just these two parents that are picking up their daughter for Christmas break. And the dad just keeps screaming, "A fortune I spent on the 50-yard line," which, again, it's like, hey, AI, can you make a sentence an angry dad would say? And then that's what would pop out. So people are going on Christmas break. We're at this finishing school, and we have 6 women left left behind at the sorority here. While this is all happening, we see someone in gloves, and this might be the first time in horror show history that the Mangle expert was the editor of the movie, because the gloves, we see them come, they grab a knife, I believe. They take this sheet of paper that we don't even know what's written on it, and they just put a big red X on it. It's not even, it looks like a list of names maybe, but the fact that it crosses out the whole list is just like, oh, okay, well, I don't know what that means. So you're not, are you mad? You're just canceling that to-do list, or what does that mean? And then the hands grab a picture frame of a woman who we don't know who this is. I didn't know when I first saw it because the girl that fell off the balcony, you don't even get to really see her. It's a 3-second
Yeah,
intro.
correct.
There's no like close-ups on her face. You don't even know what she looks like. So the editor had to be like, hey, we need to remind you who this is. So while the gloved hand is holding the frame, they just overlay like a transparent visual of the girl falling off the balcony and just like flashing her face on top of the face in the picture frame. To be like, hey, this is the story.
That's not the only time he uses that effect in this movie. The strobe flashing.
Just to be like, hey, I think you're gonna forget who this is. Hey, if you think we're gonna forget, you should probably change the way you shot it.
Did they even name the girl that fell?
I don't think they do. I don't think they do.
Because at the end of the movie, I was like, I don't think I caught that girl's name, so I was trying to find it, and I could not. And I was rewinding things when they were like talking. I don't want to give a spoiler yet, but a character says something, but they don't refer to her by her name.
No, ever. So that's that. So clearly the killer is upset that this girl was killed on a balcony and is gonna extract their revenge somehow. So that's that. The gals in the sorority, boy, these are the horniest bunch of gals you've ever seen. And they almost flip the like standard male horror trope to the women.
They are the ones that are like, we have to get these guys over, and like
we are
need
gonna
to have sex now.
fuck.
Yeah,
we are gonna fuck the shit.
I
out.
loved it.
They take like such a command over them when they get there. They're like so desperate for dick that and it's like the trope with men usually in a horror movie where there's a nerdy guy and the girl's like, oh fuck, I guess I'll fuck him. It's like, well, you don't have to. You can just not do that. But like they just have insatiable urges. They're like tossing the guys around and being like, it's time to fuck.
There is one nerdy guy who is like very timid. Dude, that guy's the fucking best. That guy is saying "oh dear" while being jerked off for the first time.
He's like that Drake meme. The like what did it you used to say? Drake looks like a guy that would say like, "Gosh darn it."
Drake's the type of guy. Yeah,
Drake's the type of guy. Alex is the type of guy
saying "oh dear" while you're being stroked off. I'm gonna do that next time. Oh, bottom.
Also, if you were a virgin, which he is in this movie, and this girl's like, I'm taking you to fucking Pound Town, baby. He's like, oh, I don't know. And then she just ends up jerking you off. Like he'd be like, yeah, well, I'm scared.
You gotta start slow. You gotta start slow. I'm fine.
Scared,
no one's ever touched him before.
Doesn't mean you couldn't try. Oh, that's all right, because after he gets stroked off, he becomes fucking Casanova with another girl.
The king player after that. Wait, he's the guy that chases that girl into the bushes, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Dude,
the way he's flirting with her, acting like a monster.
Dude, yes. All right, let's take our first break, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. So these horny sorority girls, they're plotting essentially an orgy, which I wrote as a joke. I wrote the orgy thing as a joke, but it's not far from it because they're just swapping partners. Like, it's weird because Wikipedia says their boyfriends come. These are not their boyfriends. Two of them know each other, and even those two end up fucking other people. So it's not far from an orgy with a guy named TJ and some of his friends. And also, I should mention there is a house mother that's with them. And she cooks and does things. And so to have this orgy, they decide to lace her milk with drugs so she can go to sleep and the guys can come over and they can get wild.
Yes.
And
Obviously, minus the lacing part, the Black Christmas influence that
oh yeah,
influence that Black Christmas had on this movie is crazy. Like, with
oh yeah, for sure. Which is funny because the director goes as far as to be like that Silent Night, Deadly Night stole stuff from him. And it's like, well, yeah, I see that, but also this is Black Christmas.
Right. Even there were some shots on staircases that were very close to Halloween as well.
Yeah,
almost
for
like
sure.
Directly lifted from that.
Yeah. And the house mother's making these girls fucking stew and cherry pie. Imagine that gurgling in your stomach while you're trying to fuck. It's like a nightmare.
I didn't even think of that. Stew before sex. Oh man,
dude, there's a belly full of stew, which I feel like that was their one weird attention to detail, probably because of the porno actor in it was probably like, you can't have them eat stew before they're fucking. Like, what are you doing? And then because they after when they're done eating, the house mom randomly makes a comment that's like, oh, there's so much stew left over. And I was like, why would she say that unless somebody was like, hey, I don't think people eat stew before they fuck. And then they were like, okay, just have her say that no one ate it.
Dude, not even fucking, like, could you imagine eating stew before partying? Going out for drinks?
Dude, just a belly full of fucking liquid and meat and potatoes. Heavily spiced and seasoned. Like, come on. The heartburn would be outrageous. Fucking farting your ass off. Watch it. I hope we can one day go an episode without talking about people farting during sex and the smell of sex.
I hope it can't, but listen, just remind me. First off, I want to give a shout out to listener Tim, Shockingly Dark. Linked up with him at a concert the other day. Super nice guy, and like, I always love when somebody recognizes me because I'm just a fucking idiot podcaster. So shout out to you because that was awesome. But the reason I bring that up is because at one point during that show, it smelled so bad. It smelled like somebody took sauerkraut and left it outside in the heat for days. That's the only way I can describe it. And 4 security guards were trying to find the source, and like on the left of the stage is the men's bathroom. For some reason, it's way too close to the stage in that venue. And one of the security guards literally was like kicking open stall doors, being like, "Where the fuck is that coming from?" And they were shining their lights trying to find it, and it was like overwhelmingly bad. Like, even one, like, the bass player of the band while playing was like looking around, being like, "What the fuck is that?" And then after it was kind of like dying down, and I asked one of the security guards who was walking by me that was looking for it. I was like, "Did you find like where that was coming from?" He's like, "Oh, I think it was just a wire malfunctioning." I'm like, "Well, that's arguably way worse than somebody shitting their pants." Like, I feel like we shouldn't be in here anymore.
Dude, if a malfunctioning wire was emitting that smell.
Dude, for the rest of the show, I was like, this place is gonna burn down.
That's fucking amazing. So the gals we got Nancy, Melody, Leah, Trisha, Sam, and Cynthia. They are a little hard to keep track of outside of Nancy, but I did my best to try and track them down. Cynthia was easy because we see her first. She's about to run away with her boyfriend, wearing
nude immediately.
Nude. I honestly, I was so excited because her boyfriend's at her window, being like, "Let's go, let's go." And she's only wearing a nightie, and you're like, oh, okay. And she takes it off, and I was like, please tell me this naked woman, we're just gonna climb down a tree to like go hang out with her boyfriend. But she puts on clothes. That's why she's doing it. But before she can do that, her boyfriend is the first one to go with the killer on an off-screen kill. So I was a little nervous. I was very nervous after that, actually. I was like, oh my God, what are we gonna see? Are we gonna see nothing in this? Like, this is a bummer.
Also, he had ample time to react because you could see like the killer POV tiptoeing through the woods.
That is the MO of this movie. There's like 3 kills where the people could have just killed Santa. Well, the killer's not Santa at this point.
Right.
The killer's just in clothes. But yeah, no, that's the MO of this. There's one that's so funny that I couldn't stop laughing at. But the boyfriend gets got, and shortly after, Cynthia gets down there and takes a knife to the chest. And then I was like, okay, I'm back in. Now we can say, okay, there's some blood, there's some gore here. That's pretty cool. We go back to the house, and everyone is just dogging Nancy. She's the innocent girl of the group. It's her first year there. She doesn't want to make waves, and everyone treats her like absolute shit, which is a theme in this movie. Everyone is the worst in this movie. Almost everyone's the worst in this movie. Meanwhile, Leah is in bed, and that's when we're introduced to this lurch-looking motherfucker, Ralph, who walks into her room. Again, his MO too. He's like Sam from Clarissa Explains It All. He just like climbs in through your window and is like, hey, I'm here to do this. And they're like, what? Okay. And Ralph shows up, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, I'm supposed to take care of the plants because God put plants on our earth for pleasure. Okay.
I like cherry pie.
I like cherry pie. And she said, and she goes, you and Nancy both. And he's like, I like Nancy too. Okay, well, solid red herring for a period.
Yeah, and again, Friday the 13th had a guy very similar to this with the "you're doomed," and he just kept showing up and saying that.
Yes, this guy
so much of a red herring that you're like, there's no way this guy's the killer.
100%. After the second time you see him, you're just like, okay, this guy is not going to do anything. So that's Ralph. Then we meet another fucking character who shows up for no reason named Tina. And she honestly walks in like a sitcom. It's like Ralph and the house mom just standing there talking. And then Tina like comes in through the side door. Like you were half expecting applause to happen, like canned applause, like, woo! And she shows up and is like, God, my day fucking sucks. And she proceeds to go on the biggest rant about dying and death that the most and by the way, this is a Christmas movie. Like I know it's a horror movie, but she's Merry Christmas, and she's like, we're all gonna die. Death is inevitable. I'm probably gonna die tomorrow. My 3 husbands of mine are dead. It's just how it goes. Everyone dies. Meanwhile, the house mom and Ralph are like, okay, cool. And then she's like, all right, I gotta go.
No, dude, Ralph leaves first because Tina is Mrs. Ranzoni, right? That's also what they call her. She's the one that's sitting down eating and just looks miserable, right?
Yes.
Dude, Ralph says he has to go first, and Tina's like, "Why do you keep that weirdo freak around?" Ralph is still on screen. You can see him in the shot.
And then speaking of and the ultimate Charlie Brown. Because then, and after Ralph leaves, we actually cut to another scene, but we're listening to this Tina character talk, and she's like, you got to get out of this fucking job. This job sucks. What are you doing? You're wasting your whole life. Hey, the house mother's like 50 years old. Like, what? Like, take it easy. Like, what are you doing? Also, do you work there? Why are you there? What the fuck is happening? Yeah, so we meet her. I don't know if that's supposed to be a red herring or not, but I think it might have been because she just talks about death so much that I think they were maybe like, hey, just throw this
I think so too, because she serves no purpose.
Yeah. So the girls then take Nancy. They get her to do the laced milk. What a move. Lacing milk. Fucking crazy.
I feel like of all drinks too, that'd be the most
you would taste
like it's been tampered with, right?
You could see it, taste it. Like milk is just a taste, right? Like if it's like alcohol,
anything you add to milk is gonna like slightly curdle it.
Yeah. No, dude, milk after stew is also crazy, says the producer.
Dude,
a belly full of stew, topping it off with a glass of milk before bed.
We're getting folded up.
Biddy handing out glasses of milk at his parties. Oh, fuck. Woo. Well, the boys show up in a private chartered jet, which is insane.
But they write. We're talking about the script being shitty, but of all things to explain, they write that in as to why he has that.
Oh, yeah, dude, yes. That, and then the end of the movie, there are, I have it in my notes, I should wait, but there are 10 minutes left in the movie, and suddenly Alex and Nancy have a conversation revealing like their backstories with 10 minutes remaining in the movie. Alex is like, hey, by the way, my home life, not so great.
I will give it credit because like the script has a lot left to be desired, but they do kind of tie it together fine, better than they probably should have.
I don't think it's the script isn't so much the problem. It's more just the way the dialogue. When I say it's poorly written, I'm more talking about the dialogue. The dialogue gets fucking crazy. And again, I think it's also the acting is kind of rough. So if it's a bad actor with this dialogue, it's really bad. And when it's a decent actor, like the cop was pretty good. Actually, the cop was also pretty bad.
The cop was not pretty good.
He had like 2 moments, his first 2 sentences. I was like, I like this. Hey, this guy's good. This guy's bringing the heat to this movie. And then immediately just turns into a fucking, again, like somebody that does not know how police behave and is just doing bizarre shit. But yeah, so the boys get there. The girls meet them. They're like, hey, let's go to the house.
They're all dressed as Santa, which is important.
Yes. And
also, the pilot is the porn star.
The pilot,
and they're like the guy whose dad like owns the plane. TJ says to the pilot like, "Hey man, I hate your fucking guts. You have to sleep in the plane. You can't come with us." And the pilot's just like, "What? All right." That's all you see. That's all you see of the porn star until the end.
The way he bullies this pilot is fucking crazy. It is so crazy. It's honestly cartoonish in nature. And in that the scene Joe's talking about, the girls are like, the pilot's standing there and the girls are like, hey, we have room, like you can come with us. And TJ interrupts them, almost like the guy like starts walking and TJ like puts his fucking hand out and says, oh yeah, I don't stay with the plane.
The pilot's just like, oh man.
When we see him next, he's sleeping under the plane,
underneath the plane. Which like he could sleep inside the plane.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy.
Underneath the plane.
Oh my god. So our killer is now dressed up as Santa. I don't know how, but whatever. Why not? Why not? Who cares?
They got one of the boys' outfits somehow.
Is that what it is? I don't even know.
Yeah, the killer took one of those.
All right. Well, our killer is Santa now. We also meet Alex, who we've mentioned. He's a doctor. He's a nerdy guy. And everyone again, talk about the hate in this movie. These people treat each other like absolute dog shit. Well, they don't. They treat Nancy, Alex, and the pilot like they are the worst of the like animals. Because Alex is a doctor. He's like in medical school, and he's like, yeah, I do this like cool stuff. And like all the guys are like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude! Like in Big Lebowski when John Candy's reacting, or not John Candy, John Goodman is reacting to Donnie, and it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ, Donnie. That's as soon as he starts talking, they're like, holy fucking shit, shut the fuck up. And their alternative to that they would rather have is all of them sitting around awkwardly in silence, because he does stop talking and then they just sit there like rubbing their heads, being like, oh my God. They'd rather have that than Alex speak. Trisha, one of the gals, she goes to the fridge to get some beers. She gets her throat slit by Santa, another solid kill there. Ralph breaks into Nancy's bedroom. And he tells her, lock the door. There's evil here. I can feel it. The devil's here. And Nancy, instead of being afraid, is like, okay, that sounds good. Thank you, Ralph. which is kind of her reaction to every time Ralph shows up. And he's like, you have to fucking do this because everyone's gonna fucking die, but you need to stay safe. And she's like, oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah. Again, similar to Friday the 13th, where you know what? I'm kind of with them, because if that guy was walking around the halls just constantly saying that, I'd be like, all right, get this guy the fuck out of here, please. 'Cause honestly, if you're thinking about it realistically, could you imagine if like anyone we knew was like, hey, Ralph said that there's evil in this house?
Oh yeah,
We would always be like,
of course he.
yeah, I'm sure he did. Like, what are you telling me this for?
He also walks around with like 14-inch fucking shears to trim houseplants. So yeah, I think. Hey Nancy, of course he said that.
Somebody raising to you that, hey, do you think Ralph's onto something? So annoyed.
He's trimming a potted fern with 14-inch blades. Could just tear the ends off. Pruning with that. It's fucking nuts. And then one of my other, it flew under the radar, I think, but one of my other favorite lines is they're finally like, where's Trisha with the beers? And one of the guys is like, oh, maybe she left you. And this guy, he is the David Coulier of the group, as we'll learn, because he just starts doing bits and voices. He's like, with my charm, no chance. Everyone fucking almost throws up laughing. And as he walks away, you can hear somebody in the background go, dude, Tom is so funny.
Is he the one that plays the guitar too? One of the guys just hitting literally like one string on the guitar and sings like 30 seconds of a song. It's like, yeah, wasn't my best outing. Dude, that was torturous.
Dude, I think it was, yeah, I think it was him. And then when he leaves to go find Trisha, he's just walking around the hall doing voices and bits. And I was like, this guy, the fucking pits.
Dude, I wanted to ask you if I was bugging or not. When they go outside to meet the guys when they land their plane, it takes place at night because they all have flashlights and they're doing it in the middle of the night. That is very clearly shot during the day because it's bright out and you can see the sky. You can see the clouds in the sky. And not only in the woods, but when they get to the plane, they're like, we got to hurry back before they notice we're gone. We're supposed to be sleeping. And it is like the middle of day.
Yeah, in the interview that I pulled up, he mentions that it was only shot during the day. They did not shoot they did not shoot a single scene at night.
Because when they have the flashlights, it is like very clearly not effective. It's not doing anything.
Oh, I fucking love this movie. It's so shitty in all the best ways.
Agreed.
Fuck. Anyway, Tom goes outside to look for Trisha and finds her body stuffed in. I don't even know what it is. It looks like a railing. I don't even know how to explain. It's like a cubby next to a staircase outside. I was so confused. And then the killer tries to get Tom. They get into a fight. And this was actually the fight I was talking about earlier, where it just seems like anyone could stop this guy because Tom has multiple opportunities to kill Santa. At least, just disarm him. And
this killer is the clunkiest killer that we've ever seen on film.
Dude, so they roll down a hill and fighting, and Santa gets up. And I don't think that this was part of the script. I think they just left it in because Santa looks around for the shears and they're nowhere to be seen. That's also the last time we see the shears. So I think I think they lost them in the fall. Legitimately. And then Santa bludgeons Tom with a rock. But, Santa's a good guy. He makes sure to bury all of his victims. But also not, because some of them show up later. But
yeah, he sure doesn't.
he buries a lot of them. So much fucking work. All right, let's quickly take our second break. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, baby. Remember when pressing people was a thing? I mean,
Putting
we
rocks
don't.
on top of him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Humans are fucking nuts. Human beings are a fucking nightmare.
I would agree.
Some guy thought of that. Remember when you would go to Salem as a kid and they'd be like, hey, you should watch this museum. And then you watched a guy get fucking pressed
The
to death
Giles
with
Corey.
animatronics. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's cool. Fucking eyes pop out. Ugh. Anyway, the gals are still horny as ever. One of the girls and this guy Blake. So I actually have 2 video clips that I have to share. So for audio listeners, one will work for audio. The second one, which is later, you're gonna have to tune into our YouTube version for that. They, I think I found something. I don't know if you caught this though. So the women are horny. They're chasing these guys all around. This one guy, Blake, falls down, and because she's chasing him, she's so horny. He's chasing her. He's chasing her. But she's fully in charge. She's like outrunning him, and he's like, Jesus, why are you so... She's like, come get it. And then he falls down, and she's like, oh, you're faking it. And he goes, that's what my high school coach used to tell me. What? What the fuck does that mean? What are you saying there? But, my brother, one of these motherfuckers farted in this scene.
Oh yeah, I did not notice.
Now,
we got a shark fart situation here.
it is a shark fart situation. However,
sorry. Speaking of sharks, real quick, did you notice how much that score was the Jaws score?
No,
dude, it's the dun like over and over again.
They probably just slowed it down
for sure.
So I have this clip of the fart, so you'll be able to hear it, listeners of the world. The thing though is, shark fart. You don't know who farted. Clearly somebody in the editing bay or near the camera. This one, however, we have 2 culprits here. Originally, I watched this and I said, oh, that girl farted. But then, much like the Zapruder, was it Zapruder film? The Zapruder film? Yeah. Much like the Zapruder film, you start looking at it and you start thinking, might have been the fucking guy. So let's watch it and see who the fuck farted on set here.
My back. Help me.
You're faking it.
Now, for those of you not watching, the girl comes up to him. He grabs her and she falls. She like falls into him. So I was like, oh, she farted. She's doing all the movement. But she lands right on his fucking stomach.
So that's Stu, dude.
Dude, Stu farts.
You're faking it.
You know what? When you first played it, I was like, maybe it's the shoe. That's a fart, dude.
Dude, that's a fucking fart. I rewound it like 100 fucking times because I was like, I thought the same thing. I was like, it's gotta be a shoe or something. That shit is a fart.
Me.
And she lands right on his stomach.
Nah, dude, it's her. It's the Stu.
It's her. Oh,
yeah. That's a Stu fart if I ever heard one.
They really gave the actress.
She was method acting, just eating stew all before every shot.
Dude, yes, eating stew to keep consistency over the course of 3 weeks, just eating stew constantly.
Director Krug being like, "You gotta get into the role." I would have done it.
I would have eaten stew every day. Anyway, all right. So I thought it was the girl at first. I kind of went to the guy just because the way she lands on him, but I don't know. I don't know. You know, if you watch the YouTube version, let us know. Sound off and tell us who the fuck farted. Also, are we the all-time fart finders, brother?
I think it's tough to argue against that.
If there's a fart, we'll fucking, no pun intended, sniff it out. We'll fucking sniff that thing out. If you fart on camera. Did we ever even talk about how I wanted to ask, what was his name? Rodman Flender, about who was the biggest farter on set, because I wanted to ask him so bad, because that Barry Sonnenfeld interview had just dropped where he was like, Will Smith wouldn't stop farting on Men in Black. And he's like, but there's a farter on every set. It's not a big deal. And I was like, what? And now I just want to ask every director who the farter was on set and be like, hey, Barry Sonnenfeld said there's a farter on every fucking set, where you have to like clear out.
Which is so insane. Because like, you hold it together. You're at work.
Dude, when I worked in a place where I didn't have the privacy that I do now, you just hold the fucking fart in.
That's what I'm saying. You can't just be
Not
going
that
to work doing that.
Especially you're mic'd up. That would be the last place I fucking fart. A fucking movie set. Also, I wonder if there's any like fart deniers on set. Like everyone knows like it's Will, but Will's like, who the fuck did that? And they're all like, hey man, it happens every time you come here. Oh man, that's fucking weird. Must be the electrical wires.
Dude.
All right, well. Oh fuck.
Blaming parts on the electric.
Another thing I'm gonna start doing, just anytime somebody's like, well, did you fucking fart? Fucking wiring in here is fucking weird. Should anyone check the wiring in this place? I don't know.
Fuck, man. I gotta start doing that. Do it to my dad.
Dude,
Rip
that's immediately what I
rip,
thought of.
rip every wall off.
Right? You'd think he'd be like, shut the fuck up, Joe.
Dude,
Like, you farted.
66 years never smelling a wire that smelled like a fart. But yeah, he would immediately be like, holy shit, got a problem.
Oh, fuck me. That's funny. Call the inspector from your home inspection from 5 years ago and be like, did you smell any wires? Fuck. All right.
That's topical, but for those wondering. calling an inspector from 5 years prior and be like, hey, did you notice these wires smell like farts?
The reaction would be, I'd honestly pay to just hear the silence on the phone, the other end of the phone.
You probably get, like, you have to file a restraining order. You cannot contact me again.
Oh man, that's fucking insane. Fuck. Well, for the next little bit, it's just a bunch of people walking around, a bunch of bullshit, just a bunch of horny teens running around, cleaning up puddles of blood, giant puddles of blood where their friends were killed, and being like, yeah, it's probably just Ralph cutting himself. Which, hey, the last time you saw Ralph, he was carrying the biggest pair of shears of all time.
I was going to say,
himself,
it's not that unbelievable to think Ralph was
oh, you're right. Oh man. We go to two people having sex in a room, and the killer shows up in a suit of armor that's been standing in the corner in the cuck chair, in the cuck suit of armor. And while they're fucking, shoots a guy with a crossbow.
Great kill.
Through the mouth.
Through his mouth, yeah.
Yeah.
On the back of the head.
Fucking crazy. And then chops a woman's head off with an axe. That was amazing. It was also insane that they got into a suit of armor. I feel like they could have just walked in.
Just continue wearing the Santa Claus outfit.
They just randomly stop wearing it in this one scene. Fuck. Ralph shows up to Nancy's room again, uninvited, to explain that he kicks it off by being like, listen, Nancy, I'm a man of the land. Like, okay. Like, yeah, I guess to your point, you're just like, okay, Ralph, what's up? Like, I know you're a man of the land. What's going on? And he proceeds to say that because he's a man of the land, he knows that people are in danger, and she has to pray to save herself from the devil. Heavy stuff there.
Yeah.
So that's that. Santa's burying bodies still. So much fucking work just for nothing. Just throw them in the fucking woods. Melody finds out Alex is a virgin, which we kind of already talked about, even though she's like, I can't wait to take this from you, which is wild. The Wikipedia page also sent, Wikipedia is so weird with movies and what they include and what they don't. And I know it's obviously because people put that in or whatever, but to highlight that scene in Wikipedia, because they'll leave off big scenes, because sometimes I'll go to Wikipedia to like check the scene that I just watched. I'm like, how is this not in there? Like they just totally go over it. And for this one, it says Melody, meanwhile, seduces Alex in her bedroom and gives him a hand job. You're like, what?
Dude, I just went to the page. Ralph, who ominously tells her he believes something is evil. Wait, sorry. Meanwhile, Nancy runs into the school's groundskeeper, Ralph, who ominously tells her he believes something evil is about to happen. Melody, meanwhile, seduces Alex in her bedroom and gives him a hand job. And then hand job's hyperlinked. So you can go to the wiki page about hand jobs.
Yeah, all right, I guess. And that's the other funny thing is like, usually, I mean, there's usually a decent amount of links in them, but it would never be for a hand job. You don't need to hyperlink to that. I think we got it.
Yeah, well, you know what? It worked because now I'm on the wiki hand job page.
Now I kind of want to derail the whole show here, baby.
Dude,
that picture on there.
Could that guy be any more, nonchalant?
That motherfucker's sleeping. He's getting tugged. That might be my favorite picture ever.
Yeah, hanging on the dining room wall.
High art. Oh man, erotic watercolor.
Why does she have her socks on over her knees?
Well, he's wearing one of those fucking like Ebenezer Scrooge nightgowns that like go down to your ankles, just pulled up all the way. Oh man. Anyway, they made it through night one. That's night one. All of this is happening. The next day, the house mother's still there. You forgot about her. But also, it's like, what was the plan here? Because the house mother comes out and is like, hey, just so you know, the guys shouldn't be here. And they're like, yeah, the plane broke down, so we got to stay. Sorry about it. And she doesn't even really give a shit. She's like, okay, just like, you're not supposed to be here. So it's like, I don't think you had to drug her to do this because she still found them there. So I don't know.
Drugging her was so ineffective. Holy shit.
Just for the next morning for her to be like, oh, there's guys here. I guess you brought them in the middle of the night last night since it's 8 a.m. and they're eating breakfast here. Then comes the greatest flirting scene of all time, which you had sent in the group chat today, of Alex and Nancy running into each other outside. And you didn't say the greatest, the most realistic flirting scene. Because it's the most awkward thing you've ever seen. He's like,
they're just arguing with each other. You look pretty. No, I don't.
And then to cap it off, Alex, they don't even have a real conversation, like Joe's saying. Like they're just like saying things to each other, and then Alex is just like, well, he just starts acting like a monster for no reason. Chases Nancy into the woods where she finds Ralph, who has been scalped, I believe. Some type of head injury. He's
yes. He is dead.
So they call the police, who's like, we need to call your parents because there's been a murder. And TJ's like, hey man, can we like just like not tell anyone about this? And this was, the cop felt at this moment like the only person with a brain, which made me laugh because I was like, oh, that would be a funny thing, is that if they're telling us right now that everyone in this house is just the dumbest person on earth. Because the cop's like, are you fucking serious? You can't be for real right now. I thought he was even going to humor it, and I was going to be like, oh, that's so dumb. That would be so dumb that they don't like phone it in or anything, and they're just like, okay guys, like let's just. And the cop's like, no, like what are you doing, what are you saying? And the way he explains the situation, because he's telling everyone, he's like, this person was killed and you have friends missing, like this is not good. And they're like, well, I don't know. And he becomes like exacerbated, and he's like, hey guys, like your friends are probably in danger. Like he gets like so upset, and he's like, what are you guys not comprehending? It was almost like a comedy moment where like it would be like in like not like a scary movie or something, where they're like, no, I don't know. And he's like, what are you not listening to what I'm saying? You guys saw a dead body. Like you saw a murdered body. But then it flips because Nancy's like, hey, I actually talked to Ralph before he died, and he was like, she claims that he was like trying to convert her to religion, which I don't think that was the point of Ralph's statement to her. He wasn't like, hey, have you heard about the Lord Jesus Christ? He was just like, you need to fucking
You are in danger. Yeah.
Which her thing to the police was like, I don't know, it was weird. He was trying to convert me. He was trying to make me pray. Okay. Hey, Nancy, you missed the point of this.
And then the police officer's response is to grab her by her cheeks and like hold her an inch away from his face and be like, hey, Toots, this Ralph guy, and list off like every terrible crime that Ralph has ever committed in this life.
He holds her face for like a 5. Because at first he grabs the face, and it's like you're like, I mean, it's weird to grab somebody's face as a police officer, but it's almost in a moment of like compassion, because he's like, you didn't know that this was going to happen, like as if she felt guilt or something. Right. But then he just proceeds to hold it and keep talking. Holding her face and then being like, and by the way, this guy is the biggest piece of shit on earth. And, he's murdered 2 people. He's a negligent homicide. He's hanging out with a bad
assault of a deadly weapon.
He's like, so was it a loss? To be TBD. And Nancy's like, oh, okay. Got it. Oh man. And then this is when I could not figure out who the fuck was writing. Well, I know who, the guy that was in the Amazing Melting Man, but which tracks, because they all acknowledge their friends are missing, which I didn't really even know that they had. It felt like that was just being overlooked for this entire movie, that they because they have like 4 friends missing now, 4 or 5. I mean, Cynthia was there, and that was a day ago. So they've got a ton of friends missing, and they're finally acknowledging that. And yet somehow they're all still debating whether they're in danger or not.
Right.
And as you said, the cop did tell him to shelter in place. The cop was like, you guys have to stay here, which, by the way, that's insane. Just bring them to the police station.
Right. Get them out of there.
Get them out of the house.
Get them out of harm's way. Yeah.
Yeah. But regardless, the cop is like, you have to stay here. Lock the doors. Do not let anyone in. You have to be safe. Like, this is bad. And they're all like, but is it bad? And even Nancy has a line here where she goes, Alex, do you believe we're in danger? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, why? Hey, what have we not outlined in the last 15 minutes? And that's basically what Alex says. Alex goes, I already told you. It's amazing. And then we get some more cops. This cop calls in 2 cops to put on detail. And he's like, if you even look at these fucking girls, I'll fucking kill you. And the 2 cops are like, God, what's his problem? And I'm like, oh, good. Like they're just like, why would we do that? And then they're immediately like,
immediately, fuck.
the guy's like not even, the other cop's not even like 10 feet away. And he's like, so how are we going to fucking pound these girls, baby? You're like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah, what's up that guy's ass? We would never do that. Also, can't wait to do that. And you would think that that doesn't actually happen.
It happens.
It's fucking,
the oldest, doofiest looking one too.
dude, the one that looks like Andre the Giant and fucking John C. Reilly had a fucking baby together.
Guy's hair.
It's unfucking real. And his fucking teeth. He's got Andre's teeth, but without being a giant. Fucking crazy. Well, that's that. And then the kids keep talking to each other, debating whether they're in danger or not. And by the way, now they ask one of these extra cops, these new cops. They're like, "Hey, are we in danger?" And one of the cops is like, "Nah, you guys are fine. That guy's probably long gone by now." Like, what the fuck is happening? What is happening? And Leah, who has been with TJ this whole time, is immediately like, hey, police officer, let me show you to your room. And they're basically just winking in front of everyone at each other. Like, okay, show me that room. And yeah, they have sex. So that's that. TJ then has, this is actually my favorite piece of dialogue because again, it's TJ just being a giant piece of shit because they're all in the house and they're sheltered and TJ's furious. Of course, I don't even know why he's furious. He just doesn't want to do anything that somebody else is telling him to do. And Melody's like, hey, we should probably ask your pilot to come inside. A, because there's a killer on the loose. B, doesn't hurt to have an extra set of hands around the house if there's a fucking murderer, like another man in the house, you know, if there's a fucking guy walking around killing people. And TJ cuts her off and goes, I hate the guy, which is a great line. And then proceeds to keep knocking him. The guy's not here. The guy's sleeping under his plane in a sleeping bag, mind you. And he's like, the guy's probably too stoned to walk. He did something for my dad, I guess. Saved his life or something. Saying that like he's an asshole. What a fucking idiot. And then Alex is like, hey, I think Melody might be right. And then before he can even finish, TJ's like, no way. So pilot's not allowed in the house. You don't fraternize with the help, I guess, in TJ's house. TJ finds out is Leah's fucking the cop, and that gives him the green light to go try and fuck Melody. He does. Well, he tries. So we go outside where the cops were split up. One was watching the house, one was outside watching the perimeter. And the cop outside sees Santa walking towards him with an axe and says, just assumes it's the other cop and goes, what are you doing up there in that dumb outfit? And Santa comes, one-handed swings a fucking axe into this guy's skull.
One of the funniest kills I've ever seen.
It was insane. It's like if you were like drinking and playing wiffle ball and you're swinging with one hand. Like that's how he swings the fucking axe. Just like, whoop, boom, brains him. Somehow goes through his skull. I'm not even sure if you swing like that, if it would even hurt. Like it might be like, fuck.
I think it would
what the fuck?
Mildly like upset you. Right? Like sting.
Why the fuck would you do that? Splits this guy's head in half. So that cop's dead. TJ then explains to Melody that she has nothing to worry about because he's a black belt. what I think is supposed to be an accent, but he just sounds like he's never heard a human being speak before. He's just doing some type of voice while he's saying that. And while that's going on, Alex and Nancy are doing their thing where they're checking all the locks. They start hearing things. They have some of the worst dialogue you could ever imagine between two characters for about 10 minutes. And this is when they start talking. There's 20 minutes left. And this is when Alex is like, I don't see my family very much. And you're like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? The fuck are we talking about? Also, it'll be revealed in the interview with the director why there's this, because they shot everything they shot. There's nothing on the cutting room floor. They had nothing to cut.
I believe it.
Oh, man. So Leah fucks the cop. She goes to take a shower, finds the head of her friend. The cop gets stabbed in the back. He falls through the bathroom. Santa reveals his face to Leah, who screams in horror, but we do not get to see the face just yet.
Yes.
But so something's there. Something's there. I just remembered the end of this movie. Sorry. Just fucking started laughing. Like the very end. TJ and Melody go outside to have sex. And then this is the other video. Now this one won't make sense to listeners, to the listeners of the show, and I'm sorry. But if you're watching on video, it's worth it. I will try to explain it. The reason I'm showing the video is because I cannot. I don't know how to say what is happening in this scene. So Melody and TJ go outside and start hooking up by the tree. And it starts out normal. They're making out, right? And then when we cut back to them, they are doing one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. Both of their eyes are closed. They're outside next to a tree. And both of their eyes are closed. They're not even looking at each other. When this scene popped up, I was like, I thought I missed something, and I thought they were dead. Because they're almost like they're motionless almost. But then you start seeing Melody rub her hands on TJ's mouth, whose eyes are closed, and his neck is like cranked at this insane angle. And it's just one of the weirdest.
I think he gets killed with a garrote here. It's
It's
fucking awesome.
nuts.
But he's lowering the wire down, like the wire noose down from above. Like turning, if you can see my hands on video, he's turning it very slowly. The precision he would have to get that around this kid's neck, and then to bring it up without the kid ripping it off his neck is nuts. But dude, I think that they are doing hand stuff. Like she's jerking him off and he's fingering her.
Oh, okay. Hey, you know what? I can admit when I'm wrong. I think you might be right. It's still a wild position, though, to be in.
I mean, just shooting it like that. Can't you guys just kiss or have sex?
Right, like everyone else in the fucking movie. All right, fair enough. Well, while they're doing hand stuff, yeah, as Joe mentioned, Santa secretly lowers down a fishing wire noose and kills our boy TJ. He gets it.
Yes.
He gets it. And of course, Melody runs away from that. She gets to the house, which is locked, which I thought was cool because, yeah, Nancy and Alex had gone around making sure all the doors were locked, assuming everyone was still inside. And she's locked out, but they end up letting her in. So we got Melody, Nancy, and Alex all together again. They start finding all the dead bodies. The phones are dead. But then they hear Leah singing, which was shocking to me. And I was...
that was great. Can I just interrupt for 1 second? Because they try to make a phone call, and the killer is just like waiting for them. The killer could have done this, right? Like at any point in time, just cut all the wires, but they just conveniently wait for him to pick up the phone, and they pick up the gardening shears to be like snip as soon as he starts dialing.
We didn't think you'd actually make a phone call.
But yes, the Leah part she's had a mental breakdown after seeing what she's seen, and she is just singing and dancing, which she'll do for the entire rest of the movie. Honestly, kind of effective.
I agree. I actually thought that was effective. I have two things down where I wrote that. I forget what the other one was. Oh, it's what we're about to see. So yeah. So Leah, I thought it was really cool. I thought it was interesting. I didn't know where it was going, and I do think it kind of kept like a sense of like, wait, is Leah in on this? Like, what is happening? Is Leah one of them? I don't know what's going on. It was weird. It was very unsettling. And the whole end of the movie, you just hear singing and dancing in the background while like terror is unfolding for everyone else. And then they have their showdown with Santa. Melody runs away to go get the pilot, get the plane ready, find Alex, because Alex has disappeared also. And I believe to be sort of a red herring-ish type of thing there. So Nancy has this showdown with Santa, and we hear Santa's voice say, "Killed my baby." And it is the house mother, Mrs. Jensen.
Billy's mother.
Billy's mom. She's saying, "You killed my baby. You gave her drugs. You were her friend. You were there, Nancy." And to the point where I was like, oh shit, was Nancy one of those girls? And then Nancy was like, Miss Jensen, I've never been here before in my life. I just got here for the first time.
Arguing with facts is so funny. Be like, hey, I started a couple months ago. Like,
yeah. Literally never met your daughter, didn't know you had one. What is happening? And that was a concept I also really liked. I thought that was kind of effective too. Like this idea of like this mother being so broken and delusional that she just breaks and is like, these fucking kids, which again, Friday the 13th does it.
yes.
I just felt like it was not better done, but like, I don't know. It just felt a little less cheesy in this for some reason. It just felt like there was more of like a tragedy in it. I don't know. I don't know whether it was because Jason Voorhees' mom is just like a little more over the top as a killer or something, but this just felt like a little bit more rooted. I don't know. You could see this happening, right? Like just this psychotic snap. And you know what it is? I think it's the fact that she's saying Nancy was there. She's like, Nancy, you were there. So she's like identifying them. It's not just like, oh, I hate all sorority girls. It's like she thinks that she saw Nancy there. Like she thought Nancy was one of them. So I think that's kind of cool. Anyway, Nancy hits her in the head with a fucking book and gets away. So that happens. Melody goes to the pilot to beg for help. That's when we see him sleeping under the plane. And when he's abruptly awakened and is like, what? And she's like, everyone's dead. And he's like, what are you saying? Like coming to terms with whatever she's saying. She calls him a drunken slob. She's like, you drunken slob, get the fuck. Treating this guy like an absolute dog. She fucking can't stand him.
While she's doing this, we see Santa Claus like lurking in the background, coming up on them.
Yes.
Like, oh fuck, he's either gonna come up from behind and stab one of them, or the pilot is gonna be the hero, right? He's gonna save the day and have his comeuppance because he's been shit on this entire film. Does that happen, Sean?
It doesn't, because we find out that the plane actually is broken down, which was a lie that they told the house mother to be there. But then suddenly the generator is broken on it. So the pilot's working on it, and then you see in the cockpit Santa Claus is in the cockpit.
Movie. Which it is not a commercial airliner. It is a small
it's like
plane.
A plane, yeah.
There's no way Santa Claus would be able to get on that plane without the two of them are standing there. They are on the propeller that's right next to the cockpit. But Santa's just sitting in there, and then the pilot is like, and Santa Claus turns on the propeller and chops them into pieces.
Oh, it's fucking awesome. Another great part of that scene too is when Melody is telling him that everyone's dead, everyone's been murdered. He's like, "What about TJ?" And she's like, "TJ's dead." And he's like, "TJ's dead?" And she's like, "Yes." And then he's like, and he fucking laughs. And then he's like, "All right, let's go fix the plane." That's the fucking best. So yeah, Melody, I guess Melody and the pilot get chopped up there. You don't see it. That's what I'm saying.
No,
assume,
you
because
see
just
a
guts.
bucket of gore just, thrown onto the windshield.
Meanwhile, Leah's still in goofball mode. She's still just dancing around, having a good time. Nancy's walking around the house. House mother has her dead to rights, and somehow both of them are carrying 12-inch knives. They both lunge at each other, and somehow both miss each other. It's unreal. Like, they don't even cut themselves. I would at least cut myself by accident if I did that.
So agreed. And just want to highlight, watching this for the first time, I was having fun, and then I was like, no fucking way that we watch this lady get knocked out, and then she puts the Santa Claus suit back on, goes to the plane, turns it on, and then comes back to the house to finish stalking her. So I was like, this is losing me right here.
Yeah,
I'm back to that in a second.
I agree. I agree completely. Actually, let's take our last break. We'll be right back. All right, we are back to wrap this up. So Santa, the house mother, and Nancy are going at it. Nancy goes out to this balcony, presumably as like it's the only exit that's there. The house mother follows, and again, narrating what we need to know here, because you're just like, wait, why did she go in there? And then the house mother just walks into the room being like, well, it's the only room left. Oh, okay. So that was the fucking problem. Got it. Okay, understood. Great. So she goes in, and the mom starts, narrating as a bad guy does, being like, you chased her, you threw her off a balcony, telling the whole story. And then we cut to the flashback of the murder we saw at the beginning of her daughter. And you're watching this flashback, and then suddenly Santa's just on the ground where the body of the daughter was. And you're like, wait, what? It honestly catches you off guard.
It's so abrupt and anticlimactic, and she is dead. She has fallen to her death.
She's deader than a fucking doornail. Although she's still moaning and like moving around.
So it's a slow death. It's a slow death, but she is dead.
Yeah. So Nancy goes to her room. She starts crying. She's on her hands and knees in this room. And then we see another Santa Claus carrying in the dead Santa Claus.
Which, might I add, Nancy's reaction is non-existent until the second Santa is revealed, which you should be very alarmed that another Santa Claus is here and bringing the person that just died into the room that you are crying in by yourself.
Yeah, her reaction is non-existent. And we hear Santa say, "You killed my wife. You killed our daughter. I should have killed you first." And he takes off his mask to reveal the cop.
Well, you know what? I love that there's two. I love that there's two.
I will tell you, I love that there's two, and I actually love that they kind of planted a weird seed with the cop and the house mother earlier when the cop shows up for the first time, because they are so cordial with each other, and he calls her by her first name. He's like, "Ruth, I'll see you later." And it stood out. I actually remembered that when this is revealed, I was like, oh yeah, like that was like a weird thing. So kudos to them for at least, planning that out there.
Yes. Agreed.
So I like that.
But then he ruins it by doing the Three Stooges. Slowly I turn inch by inch, because he's like, yeah. Just like walking towards her with outstretched arms to strangle her.
And then Alex shows up again, shoots him in the back with an arrow. He consoles Nancy And he could have just consoled Nancy, and I would have forgotten that he like has been disappeared for a while or whatever, because I honestly didn't even know why he disappeared. But then Alex was like, hey, I got scared and I ran away, and sorry about that. And you would think Nancy would be like, hey, don't fucking touch me, please. For the love of God, like, do not touch me. I've been fighting 2 people for the last 15 minutes. Like, what are you doing? But she doesn't care. They're fine with it. Alex and Nancy run away, and she's like, we have to get Leah. We have to get Leah. And Alex is like, fuck it. Just leave her. We'll get her later. Like, holy shit. It's like crazy. We then cut to Leah on the balcony, singing and dancing. The end.
The end.
Oh man, do you recommend it, Joe?
I 100% do.
Couldn't recommend
100%.
it more. It's so fun. Honestly, okay. Listen. Ratings are weird because I know my letterbox is a mess, and it gets funny because you want it. So if you're like me, sometimes you're thinking about it from like a weird critical view where you're like, "Hey, this movie sucks," but then sometimes you just got to rate it on fucking
Enjoyment.
fun. Yeah,
Replay value,
and this is a solid for me. What would you rate it out of 5?
See, again, I think I might just stop rating things because
I feel like you can't.
like as a movie, it's bad. It's like a 2-star movie, right? In terms of like technical aspect. But then in enjoyment, it's it's well above average. So to answer your question, I'll give it a very strong 3.
I would say 3.5 might be a stretch, but 3 not a stretch. What am I saying? That would be like the cap for sure. But at least a 3. At least a 3. It's like in that 3.5 range. I don't know how you don't have fun watching this. Even if it's just for how bad it is, even if you're a fan of The Room and shit, like this is great. This is perfect. So producer Lexi, because there wasn't a lot of information about this movie. Producer Lexi
the relationship part.
Oh, I will. Yes, I will tell you that. Oh yeah. Do you have a guess?
Ralph.
No. It is his sister who plays Tina, the like haggard old woman at the beginning that's just talking about dying the whole time.
Good for him.
Good for him. And when you see her, you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely David Hess's sister.
Now you say that, yeah.
Yeah. So producer Lexi found this interview. It's on Retro. I'll give them a shout out. I am gonna kind of pick on them a little bit. I don't know who runs it, but retroslashers.net. I started reading it, and at the beginning, I was like, hey, you know what? This is like kind of like a cool site. Like I like the way this guy worded the interview. He interviews David Hess, and I was like, oh, this is like kind of the intro was really kind of cool, and I liked it. But then the questions start getting real fucking weird. So, and David Hess's answers are also fucking hilarious, and sometimes just like 1-word answers. Because some of the questions start becoming like kind of rude to like. I mean, we've talked to directors, right? And we've always joked about questions we would ask that are like, you wouldn't ask that because they'll just be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to hang up right now. Like you would just never ask that or phrase it in that way. It would be crazy to do that. So the first question that stuck out to me was Retro Slasher said, how did you feel directing a slasher film in a time when they were being churned out for a quick buck? And his answer was, I needed a quick buck. So just
also,
like
this came out in January of 1980.
Yeah,
that quick buck slasher craze would happen after Friday the 13th.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, trust me. Also, the budget for this was $78,000, so pretty low budget too. And then Retro Slasher says, where did you get your cast for the movie? All right. I thought some were serviceable. Okay, a little weird. And some were atrocious. but they did their jobs. Most underhanded insult question of all time. I don't even. His answer was just like, "Well, we shot it in L.A., so we just hired actors." I don't know. Like he's like, "I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's a million actors in L.A. Like, we just got some." Then he says, speaking of actors, Judy Hess played Mrs. Rosoni. So was she any relation to you? He said, only my sister. I also noticed the credits screwed up her name and called her a mister. Hey, buddy, you're the director. I think you should have.
Final say on that.
Yeah. Don't tell her that. She's actually a very good actress with a lot of stage experience. So she was cast thoughtfully.
Okay.
She was cast thoughtfully, and we gave her the smallest role we could possibly find next to the porn. We took the two people with acting experience, the porno guy and my sister, and gave them 2 lines each. This was the day and night shot. He says, was it tough getting away with so much day for night shots? And Hess says, it was easy because it was all we had the budget for.
Yeah, we could tell.
There were some editing errors in the film. Hey, guy. Yes, of course there were. What are you talking about? There were some editing errors in the film. Like at the end, when the killer's supposed to fall off the balcony, they go from sneaking onto the balcony to suddenly landing on the ground. What happened? Not enough footage. We shot less than 30,000 feet of film, so we were shooting at somewhere between a 3 to 4 to 1 ratio, and we weren't able to get all the coverage we needed. So when we missed big. Just like acknowledging that is so crazy. What was the deal with the movie ending with a dancing girl in shock? Was that an artistic statement or merely a setup for a sequel? Hess says, I didn't give it much thought.
Hess rules.
And he said she was in a state of shock because of the nightmare she just experienced, and it also doesn't hurt to keep someone alive if you want to make a sequel. Would you agree that the revelation of 2 killers was pretty unique at the time? And it says, yeah, that's why we did it. Also, was that unique at the time? I wonder. I couldn't really find anything quickly. I don't know. I mean,
it's 1980, so everything at this point is relatively unique
in terms of a slasher. Yeah,
in Halloween and Black Christmas.
This was the question where I was like, I think we do a good job of making. I mean, we put in effort. We do put in effort, but I think we kind of make it seem effortlessly at some points. I'm not trying to like pat ourselves on the back. It just sometimes I think we can make ourselves seem like we're not putting in effort, even when we do. But it's like this question. Just Google this. Like, what are you doing? What kind of premiere and theatrical run did the movie have? Hey, buddy. Did you watch the fucking movie? Like, it didn't go to fucking theaters. What are you and also just Google that before you're like, hey, what was your box office? Because then, of course, he says it never ran theatrically. As far as I was led to believe, it went directly to tape and sold like 10 million copies. It was an enormous seller.
So somebody lied to him.
Yeah. Also, the whole interview, he kept being like, I didn't get any money. Hey, I think it's because you didn't sell 10 million copies.
Dude, 10 million?
Did you read any of the reviews when it was released? No. And then...
why? Hey, David, why did you do this?
Okay, so there's an interesting note at the end of this that I'll read after but yeah, I agree. Like at some point I'd be like, hey, stop answering me. I'm not answering any more of these fucking questions. This is fucking nuts. Like, what are you doing? But they stopped talking about this movie and they kind of just talk about other things that he did. So he goes, now I'd like to ask you about the mid-'80s when some folks tried to get Beyond the Last House on the Left off the ground. Had they approached you to do that? He's like, I was approached for a bunch of sequels. I don't remember the titles. Were Sean Cunningham and Wes Craven going to be involved? And he's like, I don't know. Because he just told you. I think he'd remember if Wes sent him a script and he was like, nah, no, thanks. I'm going to pass. I know your character was in the script. How was he supposed to have survived the first film? And he goes, movie magic? Question mark. If this was the Danny Steinman project that you're talking about, he survived the chainsaw but was totally messed up and ugly. I didn't feel that it would be fair to my fans to be that ugly because I'm beautiful. And then in parentheses it says wink. The last question was, why didn't Beyond come to fruition? Seemed like a natural project for the horror franchise driven 1980s. He goes, I wouldn't know.
Fuck, I wish we could have interviewed Hess.
I know. Because again, I think we'd have way better material. But then at the end of the interview, it says credits to Joe from davidhess.com, which just cracked me up, for setting the interview up and conducting it over the phone on our behalf. So I don't think this guy even interviewed David Hess. Some guy that ran davidhess.com, who was probably Joe Hess, is my guess. Just like read the questions and wrote them down. So what I'm saying is David Hess did not answer these questions. Joe from davidhess.com for sure answered these questions. That's why when it came to like very specific answers, he was like, I don't know, man. Don't know what you're talking about. Oh, how much is it, producer Lexi?
Huh?
davidhess.com is available.
Oh, to buy?
Yeah. Oh, you have to call. Oh, they're going to ask for, if it's to call, you have to, it's going to be like 10 grand. We don't need davidhess.com that bad. Did I ever tell the story of when I don't even know, Joe, if you know this. Yeah, I think you do. I think I told you, but you might have forgotten. About how when we first started, there was like this little beef that we had with another show out there. We didn't give a fuck, but they were like really uptight about us and specifically our name. And I ended up buying the domains for anything they could have used. Out of pocket. We weren't even making money. I was just like, I'm buying all these fucking domains now. I had them for years. Lock that shit down. Anyway. So that was it To All A Goodnight?
Yeah.
To All A Goodnight, 1980. So there you have it, guys. What a movie. I had so much fun watching that. That was great. That was great. Again, I did like P2, but this is what I'm looking for in a
It's my kind of movie.
Yeah. So that was awesome. So our live show is this Saturday, the 21st, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are doing we're doing two shows, one for Europe, one for the US, which I think we did one Christmas also. I think that was also our Christmas thing. The Dorm That Dripped Blood.
That Dripped Blood, and then Not Another Teen Movie.
Classic Christmas film. Good old horror show. That said, that movie was fucking awesome, and everyone loved that live because that movie fucking rolled. And there were so many people that hadn't seen that yet, and they were like, "This is the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen." And that was good. So right now, what we have penciled in for the 3 p.m. is we're gonna do an All Through the House, which was our first episode because our 10-year anniversary is. What's the date of our 10-year anniversary? Producer
like December
29th. The 29th, yeah. So we're going to be doing an All Through the House again, the Tales from the Crypt episode. We're going to redo that. We're going to listen back to our original episode and basically do an episode on that. Dude, our very first episode. I wonder what it's like. I don't know. People like it.
Dreading this.
And then our 9 p.m. show might be in person. Maybe. We'll see. Might try to get Uncle Paul on the show. And we're going to be doing Bloody Christmas for its 50th anniversary. So that's a
Dude.
stacked weekend.
Sorry, I'm down. We're trying to hype up our live show. Yeah, the 50th anniversary of Black Christmas will be very fun. So join that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm saying now that we're going into our 10th year, we should do some like live shows for 2025. Should be movies that we loved during our first run, particularly Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh, revisit it. Oh my god.
Or it doesn't even have to be our first run, like Stone Cold, like movies that just really blew us away.
No, I'm totally in for that. That I was thinking about that. Fuck, what movie was it? I forget what movie it was, but I was like, oh yeah, we should. Producer Lexi had pitched a movie. I forget which one it was, and I was like, we did that, and I was like, yeah, but I don't even care. I was like, I'll do it again. Like it was Sleepwalkers. I thought we had done. I would have sworn we did Sleepwalkers, but I guess we didn't. But even if we did, I was like, that's an old one. Like I will redo that for sure. For sure.
Especially for like live shows, like fan favorite episodes, just watching the movie with listeners.
That's a good one. Like, Castle Freak.
Dude, Castle Freak, Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah. We got to do it.
Those
you told your dad recently the plot for Castle Freak. And he was
not really the plot, just that somebody had their assholes shown. So.
Oh, that's right. So that's our live show. Oh, and another fun thing, live show for Christmas, as we've done sometimes in the past, not always. Free for everyone. So come join us over at patreon.com/IHateHorror. I'll set it up. You can see the links will be there, but they'll be available to everybody. One and all can have access to it. So head on over there. We'll probably also post the links on social and stuff as we get closer to it, but I'll post the links for the shows soon so you can just put them in your calendar, baby. So that'll be fun. And then after that, we're going to be doing Christmas Bloody Christmas, a newer movie. You watched that, right?
I did.
I think you liked it, right?
I did. It was fun.
I fucking hated that movie. So I'm excited to watch it for the show. Maybe it'll change my mind. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. And January, we are doing Japanuary. I know the Final Destination people are mad, but we have a plan. There is a plan in place. Final Destination Bloodlines, the 6th installment, is coming out in May. We will be leading up to that with all the Final Destinations leading into the newest installment. So stay tuned for that. So that'll be really fun. So we got Japanuary next. We don't know what movies we're going to do for that. So hit us up. I know some of the Patreon listeners have already put some movies in the hat for that. And then we're going to be doing our Patreon pick bonus episode this month very soon. So make sure you check out the polls on Patreon. Final Destination. How do we feel about that? That's rough. Is it as rough as my favorite Marchin?
You know what? It's fine. Let's do it.
Final Destination. My son still talks about the day that I was trying to edit the old logo of My Favorite Martian from the 1950 show, because you can't find a clean logo because they didn't even have a clean logo at the time. It's fucking fuzzy TVs. He still talks about the day I was like trying to edit that to make it say My Favorite Martian, and how frustrated I was the entire time, just swearing in the kitchen, being like, God damn it. How do I make this work? But yeah, so that's what we got. Patreon.com/IHateHorror. IHateHorror.com. We got lots of merch still out there. Patreon members get a 10% discount, so make sure you use that. And we got the new Patreon tiers. We're starting all that stuff coming out soon with the Patreon picks and the bonus eps and stuff like that. So once these holidays wrap up, we'll be full steam ahead and with some other fun stuff coming out. So keep your eyes peeled. We're on Instagram at IHateHorror, Facebook.com/IHateHorror. Joe, where can they find you?
Instagram, Boognish1985.
And you can follow producer Lexi over at Cult of Craven. I want to thank Lexi. I want to thank Joe, of course. And I want to thank all of you for listening. And hey, rate, subscribe, rate us on iTunes or Spotify, and send an email over to lexi@ihatehorror.com. You'll get some stickers. Get some stickers for your reviews. It'll help us out a lot. So with the algorithms. So do that. And that's it, guys. So thanks to Lexi and Joe again. And for Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.
Cause I'm a gorehound, hellbound, or movie lover. Good and evil are just colors on the spectrum. Cause I'm a gorehound, hellbound, or movie lover. I like my voyeurism, use the black stuff, red rum. Cause I'm a gorehound, hellbound, or movie lover. Good and evil are just.
Can I just say, we should do Peter Rottentail again for Easter, and then we should do Pieces. And I just really just want to highlight that in 2016 we did Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 3 in July. So
Wait, isn't that like halfway to Christmas?
it is, but that's not why we did it. We were just doing Part 3s.
Oh yeah, halfway to Christmas is June 25th. Damn it.
June? Oh yeah, but
June.
people do Christmas in July.
Yeah. The name is a play on. Wait, they claim June 25th is also known as Leon Day because Leon is Noel.
Noel backwards.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard.
Very clever. Anyone that celebrates that's an asshole. Leon Day. Dude, the Howling too. Fuck man.
There's some good ones.
Gems.